Please welcome Monica Stewart, your host for the Saddle Up Ozarks, connecting you with the western lifestyle of the Ozarks.
Hello friends and welcome to Saddle Up Ozarks. Today we're here to speak with Bobby Avila Jr., an accomplished reining horse trainer and NRHA competitor. Also we have Taylor Zimmerman, who has also had a winning streak nationally in the reining industry. Both are here at the Bobby Avila Training Center in Rogersville, Missouri. So Bobby, tell us a little bit about the program you have here, what all is involved.
Well, here at Avila Performance Horses, we start everything from a yearling to training them as a show horse. I have several non-pros that ride with me, and most of those horses we've purchased, some of them, but most of them we train from the beginning when we show. Some horses we sell, we train for sale purposes, and other horses we train for show purposes, and we try to fit them with the riders that each horse and rider, how they work together. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Okay. So I know that you have been involved with one of the record high selling prospects in the NRHA Futurity Sale. Would you like to share a little bit on that and kind of your experiences with getting some horses for good production into the NRHA and just getting involved in that?
Yes, I started with this 2-year-old sale horses, and horse named Skeetzel Annie was the #1 high-selling mare for a long time. She brought 185,000, and that was kind of my big start with the sale horses. And then I had one that sold for $200,000. He was a stud by Wimpy's Little Step, and that was really neat. Very big highlight in my career so far. As far as horse sales, we sell horses all over the country, but in those big sales, that's really neat to have horses that go on and perform. And I also had a horse named Not Rough at All. I sold as he didn't sell as a 2-year-old. He was in the sale, and he got passed out at 60,000. He went on to win the Triple Crown, so he's won every major event. And it's really neat to have train some of those horses for 1 year at least before they go on to their show careers and become very successful.
Okay, so how did you get involved into the NRHA and the horses as a whole, and also some of the mentors? Could you tell us a little about some of the people that helped you along the way and kind of guided you through all this?
Well, when I was a kid, we grew up showing in fun shows and did barrels, poles, Western Pleasure, did everything. Any class that you could go in, I wanted to go in. And then we got more into team pinning, and then when started going to some reining horse clinics and learned to reining was the ultimate control. And I went to some clinics with Randy Cutbirth, and he was probably the first person I went to a clinic and seen some freestyles I really thought was neat. And then as a kid, I rode with Randy Paul also. So Randy Paul, Randy Cutbirth are probably two people I learned a lot from as a kid, and then I moved away and ended up training horses here at for Zimmerman's and for myself 17 years ago, and then we've just they've been in the breeding business, Zimmerman's, so we've had horses that they've raised that we've had mass numbers, so we've needed to sell some, which gave me a lot of opportunity to train horses to be sold or be shown.
What would you say was the biggest milestone in your career so far, and a few of the highlights that you've made?
Well, I think that looking back, I mean, the sales are great, but training the horses from the beginning to the end, it's really neat having raised one or even purchasing a horse as a baby and training one from the beginning to, I say, the end, to when it goes and wins. When we've made the futurity finals, when Taylor won the Youth World on a lot of step, he was a horse that I tried to sell as a 2-year-old for $25,000, and nobody looked at him. And then he went ahead and we showed him, and he's been a great show horse for us, and that she won the Youth World on him, and he's been very, very consistent, and that was probably one of the highlights a couple of years ago as far as accomplishments as a trainer, teaching. And I taught Taylor how to ride from a little bitty kid. So she was, what were you, 7? 7 when she started riding. So we were riding Snowy the pony in a helmet out, and we were trying to learn how to go over jumps, little bitty jumps to keep it entertaining.
All right, so many of you probably know that Taylor has been working with Bobby a lot on the training aspects. So Taylor, could you start off by telling us a little bit about your recent win on the NRHA Non-Pro Level 1 fraternity?
That mare that I showed, Bobby trained from a baby or from whenever we started her. She was really consistent in the show pen. She'd been consistent for me all year. She started off, I showed her, I think Bobby actually showed her first at a small show in Carthage and did pretty good on her. And then I took her from there and I showed her in St. Paul, Minnesota, and I did really good on her there. I won a level 1 and level 2 upper fraternity on her there. Then we took her to Tulsa, and I won the level 2 fraternity on her. Then we went to the fraternity, and
Then I took her to Congress.
Oh yeah, he
I
took
made
her to
finals at
Congress.
Congress.
Yeah, he took her to Congress. I forgot that. And then I took her to the fraternity. So yeah, it was great.
Also, we know that you have been awarded with the World AQHA Youth Reining last year. Was that the most memorable show for you?
I don't know. I think the fraternity was a pretty big deal for me. I've always wanted to win like something big in NRHA.
Yeah.
And the youth world was fun, but it was just the beginning, I hope.
So, for you and Bobby, what preparation goes into achieving titles such as that, and what all is involved in that?
Really early mornings.
Well, we used to start really, really early. We started at 5 every morning for a year. And Taylor would ride before school for, I don't know, maybe 3 years at 5 a.m. every morning. But then I had a little boy, and my schedule kind of got changed around, so now we ride after school. But yeah, we have to work, and Taylor's fortunate enough that she has multiple horses she can ride, so she gets to practice on different horses. We'll prep some horses, and it just takes a lot of work, a lot of riding. You have to learn to ride the feel and your timing to achieve those accomplishments. It takes a lot of skill, and not only training the horses, but the riding horses is and executing those maneuvers in the show pen under the big lights. That's very difficult. So she does an excellent job doing that, and that's the gift she has.
So, Taylor, could you share a little bit about your future goals that you have, maybe in the horse world? Maybe as far as a career goal involved in the horses, maybe led you to some type of field in your career along the road?
I think I just want to keep showing and become just keep being a successful non-pro. I want to become a veterinarian, so I don't want to go pro. I definitely want to stay non-pro. I want to keep riding with Bobby. I think I just want to stay where I am and keep progressing where I am.
So the horse industry just kind of got you involved in the vet aspect of things, just kind of led you into that?
I've always kind of wanted to be a vet. I've always been interested in that kind of stuff. I just think that's where I want to go.
So what is something that we don't know about Bobby, or something maybe you guys want to share as a story behind the scenes? Is there anything, any fun memories?
I don't know. He's just really random. I'll be riding around and all of a sudden he'll yell Annie, which is my name. So I guess, I don't know, he's just random.
Yeah.
Just try to keep it fun.
Oh yeah, keep a lot of fun.
All right. Well, thank you guys both for being here. It was really my pleasure to talk with both of you. What's the best way to contact you guys in case anybody wants to get a hold of you for any type of business?
AvilaPerformanceHorses.net is my website, and then I have my contact information there.
Okay. Well, until next time, keep saddling up, Ozarks. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.